finding out rural that you always got to plan ahead.
But the had we been able to spend more time at the blockchain conference, it was quite interesting. You know, as a technology geek, it's fun to learn new terms and new ways of thinking about storing files, storing data. So I think it's going to be a fun project for anybody who wants to learn blockchain. There's no doubt this is going to be a good experience for anybody from the open source side who wants to start coding and learning blockchain and can't get a first job doing it, because it is different. They use different terms, and it's all the same stuff. You have to kind of learn to apply it, but it still is different. You know, it's a different way of thinking about how to manage data in where you never go backwards, where there's never an edit. There's always just a new record. And just how some of the tools that they're using, some of the struggles that people are having. We made some really good contacts. One of the guys did a keynote. We were able to reach out to him. I think he's probably pretty stable in terms of someone to reach out to if we have trouble with like NFTs or any of the transaction processing that has to get done. So it was good. It was really good to be there. We attended sessions most of the day, and I learned a lot. What about you, Steve?
Definitely. There was the hard part that we didn't really have time to get into was because we're going to be a zero monetary transaction. How that's going to be handled, but I think we'll be able to get some guidance from the Ripple community on that front. But the contacts were great. Got met up with or listened to a talk by one of the companies that created IPFS. So that was good. And then another talk around identity and how you manage identity in an anonymous way. Because people don't want their identity information out there. So that was interesting. And it basically, that one falls to a third party part of the world. Kind of like SSL keys. You know, you go get your certs from another party to verify who you are. So definitely good. Definitely some folks to reach out to. But again, there's still some missing gaps that we'll have to hunt down folks on to get some more background on.
Yeah, I went to a session on, it was the government of Colombia, and they had a bad problem with people in the rural areas being chased off of their property, basically for political and criminal reasons. And they wanted to be able to track who owned property so that they could prove that they live there. So the government put together a list of proof of their ownership, and they went through and actually surveyed and created maps. And then they used blockchain to start tracking ownership of property. And what they said was they learned that even the rural people now have cell phones. And so they gave them a QR code so they could literally scan the QR code and go right to their record of their ownership of their property. So at any point in time, if they were trying to, get people back into areas that may have been ran by the cartels or for some other problem, all they had to do is use their QR code, and they did the whole thing on blockchain. It was pretty fascinating.
Wow,
so they had a zero amount on there. They didn't track the value of the property. They were only tracking the ownership of the property.
Wow, that's amazing. That would work here too in South Africa, or in Africa in general. Jeez.
Yeah.
And they use the tokens to track the PDF files.
Yeah, that's amazing. Eh? That's incredible.
It was really fascinating application of blockchain, and they had been one of the early grants for Ripple. So Ripple actually helped pay for making that happen, and they did a proof of concept, and then Ripple gave them additional funds to help with adoption, and then the Colombian government took it over from there. So
That's
there's some
amazing.
really, really interesting applications of blockchain. And I think now, having heard some of those other applications, I feel a lot better, and I have a better understanding of how it can happen. Because before I was just like, how do you use a wallet to track SBOM data? But now I can see it doesn't really matter. It's simply just a ledger. And just because it has zero amount in the $0 in the amount field doesn't really mean anything. It's just a placeholder. And I'm wondering if eventually somebody's going to write some libraries and that take a default for the amount as a 0, and you don't have to actually worry about carrying it around all the time. Because I think right now, all of the APIs require some amount, because it does all the addition and subtraction for you.
Right, and that may be where we'll need to find out. We may just use a one token as the amount, but there's some weird, you get into weird currency regulations at some points across different governments. But I think it sounded like the Ripple folks had from the keynote from the founder of Ripple that they have a good side of the business that deals with the legal aspect of blockchain. So that will be, I think we will be able to leverage that as well to make sure we're not going down the wrong path.
And the amount of data that this stuff is processing, it blew my mind. I don't have my phone. I took a picture of the slide, but it was like I thought they were doing like 100 million terabytes a week.
They're moving around on the network 10 terabytes a week. 10 terabytes of transactions a week on the network. And then the guy I listened to around the IPFS from Protocol AI was the whole NFT. There's Filecoin, IPFS, NFT storage. That whole network right now is something like 16 exabytes of data that it's storing. I couldn't even figure out how to do the math on that one.
It's a lot of data. It's a lot.
I don't know if that's
data.
like 16,000 or 1,600 terabytes or 16,000 terabytes. I don't know what an exabyte is.
So anyways, it was good. It was a good.
It was. I guess it goes tera, peta, then exa. So a lot.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was.
Yeah, an exabyte is a million of terabytes.
1 million terabytes.
Yes.
That's crazy.
It was a ton of. Now we did go to their DevOps presentation, and it was hard for me to sit through it, to be quite honest, and it makes me realize how immature most DevOps environments are. We are, we're just from an industry perspective, we're pretty far behind and really making inroads into really automating our production releases, coming anywhere close to what the mainframe can do. And we've been trying to do it for years and years and years and years, 20, 30 years. Now we've been trying to do it. I mean, Jenkins is what, 20 years old?
Yeah, about
Close
that.
to it. So, there's still a lot of gaps. And I was hoping they would talk about DevOps around blockchain in particular, but they didn't get to it. They were trying to explain to us what continuous integration was, which they were wrong, how they described it. And it made me crazy to be there. But I was polite and I kept my mouth shut, and I went and got their names, and I'm going to talk to them about Ortelius. They're the that's the kind of team that really should be focusing on like chaos engineering, worrying about keeping, not worrying about root cause analysis, but worrying about keeping all that system up and running and knowing the right fire drills, right? They weren't even close. But overall, it was a good conference.
So I think for the Ortelius community, I think one of our next steps is we should probably kind of reach out to everybody in the Ortelius group and see who is interested in blockchain and what type of level that they're interested in. Are they just want to, you know, sit on the sideline and watch everything as it goes by, or do they want to be like involved in the design or actual coding? I don't know how we can do that. I don't know if we should create a form and do a quick survey, or any thoughts on that? Because I think that's going to be one of the, just so we know who in our group wants to do what.
I think on a form, because at the end it's just on a spreadsheet and you can publish that. So just saving time for everyone, I think it's good enough.
Okay. All right, I will put together a form and I will post the form on, I'll send it out to the email to the Google groups and as well as to the Discord channel, the link. Because now that we're in the middle of September, our next step is to start the design process of our solution, and then circle back around with the XRPL community and find out, you know, what changes we should make. We tried, you know, on the board meeting, we tried to bring in, who is it? Pear.
Yeah, and he says he's just too swamped, and he couldn't find anybody who wasn't swamped with doing blockchain stuff. But we did meet a few people from Ripple that we could potentially, we're going to be given a mentor, so we can give the documents to our mentor, and I guess it just saves some money for development.
So we're not going to be in the dark, but when we're talking to them, they're still working through setting up their mentorship program. It may line up just right for us in the next couple of weeks.
So Steve, you want to create a form and send it out to the community to see who's interested in working on the blockchain project?
Yeah, and what aspect they're interested in. So I will do that.
Okay. So
like you know, kind of like it'd be like 3 or 4 categories. You know, I want to just keep informed. I want to be involved in like the design aspect. I want to actually do coding, and then probably testing, or would be the other side of it, would be like the 4th one.
So keep me informed. I want to be involved.
I want to be involved in design.
Okay.
I want to be involved in coding, and I want to be involved in testing. Are there any other like
documentation?
Documentation. Yep.
Documentation.
Just so we have a feel for what resources we have.
Okay.
And try to build up some more community involvement around it.
Yep. Okay. All right. So the other thing that I don't think we have a big enough group. I'm going to send out a general reminder that we're back in business from our time off. But the other thing that we should start thinking about is what we want to do for December 1st. Has anybody had any thoughts on how you want to see the Visionary Summit? Should we do it live? Or should we continue to just do the lightning talks and record them? Or should we have everybody do them live? The problem, I started thinking about it when it's live, it's like, it makes it hard for it to be, let's say if it's live and we do it in the morning, it's really hard for somebody like Brad McCoy to do anything because it's such a weird hour.
Yeah, the time zones are bad. Yeah, okay, it's true.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do something in the middle, like we have most of part of the event like recorded. Maybe we can do this time like both, but more half and a half of things, something like that. So still having recording for rap and still doing more live stuff. Maybe we should like compare what is more right to do in live, what is more, I don't know, interactive in live, and what is just necessary, better just to be recorded.
So what do you think doing them live though would make it harder to actually present it? Because so we could offer, like you said, we could kind of do both, like a hybrid, and allow people to either record it or do it live. But how about for you or somebody who's going to take that job? Does it make it, do you think it makes it harder, or is it just easier to play the recorded sessions and not think about it?
Well, in the production side, having everything recorded is easier to me, at least, because I can have like a clear schedule and I don't need to like speak with much people. If there is a lot of people like live, you need to like having like a backstage channel where to say like, hey, you're like taking too much time, then we need to stop here. But why I'm eager to try it is because it's more interactive. If, for example, there is more interaction, if there is like a, I don't know, two hosts like speaking, talking, like it's more interesting. Like if like offline series versus like having a live discussion. So if we need to, if our objective is have like more interaction with people, yes, we should have like at least the half of the event live to the people feel that is participated. But if our objectives is just like sharing, probably we can keep it offline. So all depend what is the impact we are looking for.
I wonder if we did kind of a host with asking questions to the person instead of just presentations around topics, you know, so you know the person that's being interviewed already knows what the questions are, so they already have something more or less prepared, but maybe that, you know, interview format may work.
Well, the thing is that we try to do 10-minute lightning talks. We don't normally do questions on the lightning talks unless we went ahead and extended it to 20 minutes, 10 minutes of lightning talks and 10 minutes of canned questions. And we can record all that. And normally the reason why I like doing these is because it gives me basically 6 months worth of content. So as soon as we get these done, I set up the calendar to have everybody's presentation pushed out through the Ortelius social networking on LinkedIn and on Twitter for a period of that. I do it for about 5 months. And then we have a quiet month and I have to do other things. And then the next one shows up and we have all these, you know, we have basically 10 presenters that I can post, each one of them once a month for 6 months. So that's generally what I use it for. And that's why just getting it recorded, because we need them to re-record it anyway, is the easiest way to go. So maybe we just continue doing them recorded since that is the reason, that's the biggest reason why we do it, is for creating content.
It's pretty hard to do Q&A in 10 minutes. When you get out to 20 and longer, it can work, but
yeah, exactly.
Right.
For your purpose, Tracy, I don't know if that's useful.
Yeah, I don't think it is. And I think that 10-minute presentations do better in, if you get something sent to you that's 30 minutes, you may watch it, but a 10-minute lightning talk tends to do better in terms of getting eyes on it.
Well, the other thing is, if it's longer than 10 minutes, it's not a lightning talk anymore.
Exactly. So last time we tried to keep everybody to 10 minutes and it was easier for people to do it. There was more participation. We only had one person drop, and that's just because you just got too busy with work. And I think it went pretty well, but it's not, as Sergio points out, it's definitely not as interactive. So maybe there's something else we need to do between the 10-minute, because we always give a break. Maybe we can maybe there's something we can do to make it more interactive between the talks.
I wonder if we
As a person who's presenting is often on the call, so between the talks we can have, you know, do the lightning talk and then give the 5-minute break, And maybe I interview the person who did the presentation, or somebody interviews the person who did the presentation live in the Twitch chat, or something of that sort. So let's think about how we can do a recording and make it interactive, because I think the two together will be the best.
I
And
was
if we
thinking like,
record it-
I'm sorry. I
No,
was
that's
thinking
okay.
that maybe, I don't know what is the name. I don't know if the name is anchors, but it's a lot of more interactive when you have like two friends like doing this. I mean, we take time between the lighting talk, or we do breaks, but always is well, we watch funny videos and it's okay, but maybe we can use that time to, I don't know, like two friends, two anchors, two commentaries. I don't know what is the name, like having a little opinion about, hey, this was really funny. You hear that, and what is like the best part for you this last lightning talk? So it's
That's a
like
great idea. So
you're thinking out of loud. Meanwhile, the people is in the chat and having like more into the conversation. But I mean, interactive is more friendly, more people like having in this moment. It's like a watch party, you know. It's all
Yes.
recorded, but it's a watch party, so it's more fun and interactive at the same time.
Right.
I think that's a great idea. So let's think about who we would have as those hosts. So we
Sasha,
would
for
have-
sure. Sasha.
Sasha will be.
Always causing trouble somewhere.
So that's a great idea. So let's think about that format, what that would look like, and continue this discussion on, since we only have 6 minutes left. I think that's a really good way to make it more interactive, is have kind of
So
two
good,
hosts. that
Sergio.
are- Yeah, like a watch party.
And maybe if we kind of condense the breaks from the 15 minutes down to 5 to 10, so the anchor's not there trying to fill 15 minutes of content, which could be hard.
Yeah, we just do like a 5 minutes between them, with the host talking about that presentation, and just having a discussion about it. I think it's a great idea.
So
Do you really
one
want
thing
me
we
to
did-
do that?
Yeah, one thing we used to do at IBM in these kind of breaks was we did poster papers. And while that doesn't magically translate to an online presentation, the ones where somebody has, and I have to admit, I don't know what tool is used for this. They're basically slides, but there's a hand drawing across them.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody has a topic that could be presented well that way, you could essentially put it up, run that little, draw the slides for 5 minutes.
Yep. I'll have to see if there's anything out there that would.
We can use a mirror board that is really easy to use. So
Okay.
you can like post it like anything. Yeah, I like that. Like in the break, hey, we have like all these, I don't know, can be even like, I don't know, good words like kudos, something like that, and from question and stuff like that. So you have like a additional content, as Tony pointed out, because maybe 5 to 10, you aren't always going to have like a lot of to say, but if you have like this in the background that people is feeling it, at least you are going to have, I don't know, you can pick just one.
We'll check with somebody who uses that quite a bit and see what tool he's using.
I use a lot of Miro, so if you want Miro, I don't know what to say in English, but I use a lot of that, and it's really used. But it's virtual Miro, virtual wall for brown stickies and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's very cool, Mira. I know what you're talking about.
Well, that was the idea behind Facebook, the Facebook walls. Go draw on somebody else's wall.
And you're using a few like like Google, no, like Facebook, no. Mural, it was good at the beginning, but get stuck. But Mural, I think, is one of the more easy and popular to use today.
Yeah, send a link in Discord when you have a chance.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I should have an answer on the tool this fellow I've done a little bit of work with uses, and I'll put that up as well once we have it. And I apologize, I've got to drop for another meeting, guys.
Yep, we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right then, thank you all.
Cool.
Take
Bye.
care.
Hey, bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.